Long before the name Persia echoed through empires, before kings carved their victories into stone, this land was already alive. A vast plateau, rugged, unforgiving, and mysterious. Mountains cut the sky, deserts swallowed horizons, and in the shadow of these extremes, the first civilizations of Iran were born. They left no grand epics, no famous conquerors remembered by all. But beneath the dust of time, they built cities, forged kingdoms, and shaped the foundations of everything that would come after. This is the story of those forgotten pioneers, the people of Elam and the early tribes who would one day become Persians. Around 3000 BCE, while great civilizations rose in Mesopotamia, a different story unfolded to the east. The Iranian Plateau was no easy land to conquer. It resisted unity, it resisted control, but it did not resist life. In the fertile lowlands of the southwest, near modern-day Khuzestan, a civilization emerged, Elam. A kingdom both connected to and distinct from its powerful neighbor, Mesopotamia. They traded, they fought, they influenced one another. But Elam was never just a shadow of others. It had its own language, its own gods, its own identity. Further north and east, something else was stirring. Nomadic tribes, wanderers of the steppe, speakers of early Indo-Iranian languages. They did not yet build empires, but they carried with them something just as powerful, a future. Elam rose quietly but steadily. Its capital, Susa, became a center of power, a city of administration, religion, and trade. For centuries, Elam endured, not through overwhelming dominance, but through resilience. Empires in Mesopotamia rose and fell, Akkadians, Babylonians, Assyrians. Elam faced them all, sometimes as an ally, often as an enemy. There were moments of triumph, when Elamite kings marched west, sacking cities like and moments of devastation, when powerful empires struck back, burning Susa to the ground. Yet each time, Elam returned, rebuilt, reorganized, reborn. But history does not stand still. By the early first millennium BCE, new groups had begun settling across the Iranian plateau. Among them, the Proto Persians. These were not yet the empire builders we know. They were tribal, decentralized, and constantly adapting. They moved through the highlands, learning the land, forming alliances, shaping identities. Slowly, quietly, they took root. And as Elam weakened, pressured by constant warfare and internal strain, the balance began to shift. The old world was fading. A new one was preparing to rise. Elam's story is not one of rapid conquest, but of endurance. In a region dominated by powerful empires, Elam survived for nearly 2,000 years, not because it was the strongest, but because it adapted. It absorbed influences, yet preserved its identity. It lost battles, yet never disappeared. This is the first theme of Iran's history. Resilience over dominance. And then the Proto Persians. They did not inherit power. They built it from movement, from survival, from understanding the land itself. Their strength was not in cities yet, but in flexibility. In time, that flexibility would become a strategy, and strategy would become an empire. Elam eventually fell, absorbed into the rising tides of new powers. Its cities faded, its language disappeared, but its influence did not vanish. It shaped the political and cultural landscape that the Persians would inherit. It proved that civilization could thrive even in the harshest conditions. And the Proto Persians, they were just beginning. From scattered tribes, they would rise to form one of the greatest empires the world had ever seen. But that story comes later. Because before Persia, before kings, before conquest, before glory, there was struggle, there was survival, there was Elam. And in the silence of ancient Iran, the first chapter of a much greater story was written.